Danny said it didn't pop in there.
You just are going by how he acts.
You're right.
Okay.
Do I back care to these?
Too late, John. The pictures are all done.
Better?
She wasn't looking.
She had her mouth open, probably, huh? Was it a natural cause? Yeah.
That was it. Come on, Holly. You got a picture?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Holly. From me.
Oh, yeah. Is that all? Just a minute. Everybody?
She's waiting for the lights to go on.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
More in front of you.
Stay away. You guys have to wait.
Wait a second. Yeah, I got it. Okay. How come that girl's got shoes on?
That's not how she was.
What's wrong with talking?
On my throat.
Wait a minute, we want Grace in there with one. Huh? Grace is gonna come have one.
Here I am.
Ready or not?
No, wait a minute. Let me pull.
Picture.
Got her.
I can tell you weren't thrilled about that one.
Don't get in the way yet.
Briefly, Myrtle Grace was the fourth child and the second daughter of Tina and Melvin Tony Sissel. Now, Melvin Tony never used his initials, MT, because he was afraid of the connotation thereof. She was born on June 6, 1914 in LaPorte City, Iowa. Her birth holler so discombobulated a Serbian in far-off Yugoslavia that he shot the Austrian Archduke Ferdinand in Sarajevo 22 days later, jump-starting the First World War. She's been a bit of a pacifist ever since. As I said, my mother is the fourth child. There were 4 girls and 2 boys in the family, total of 6. And I think that's kind of carried on down through history. She had 5. He had 5. The rest of us a lesser amount. Anyway, during her lifetime, we have imagined her witnessing many historic events, social changes, and technological advances. As children, we guessed she must have been alive at the invention of the horse, though we suspected the cow came much earlier. And perhaps to have witnessed the creation of the first dugout canoe. She saw, or rather heard on the radio, the development of the heavier-than-air vehicles from the Pearson Zeppelin and the ill-fated Hindenburg to helicopters, jet planes, spaceships that could land a tourist on the moon and send back postcards from beyond the visible stars. She saw the invention of the Lindy, two-step, and the jitterbug, the evolution of the piano into the synthesizer, I can't even pronounce it, the Victrola into the compact disc, the Bilko radio into the Lawrence Welk show and Ed Sullivan, and eventually the color, Cosby, Seinfeld, David Letterman, which, if he keeps moving to earlier time slots for the next 80 years, will never be in prime time for Mom. Some of us have harbored the mistaken notion that our mother might have been responsible for the invention of the automobile, which was actually invented 100 years earlier. What she was actually responsible for was automobile insurance. Hands to Ma the driver for teaching Ma how to drive.
Many of us and our forebears have attempted to teach our mother to drive. And the earliest known recollection of our mother's driving, she ran into a corn crib. At the same time hollering, "Whoa." My own attempts to teach my mother to drive went something like this. I used to have a 1963 Volkswagen Bug, which was just the right size to go around in circles in our backyard. So I decided one day that Mother should really learn how to drive, forgetting all about her history as a driver. So I packed her into the Volkswagen in the driver's seat, sat beside her, taught her where low was, and we went quite successfully round and round in the backyard. There was no way to get Mother out of low gear without going onto the street. So we went onto the street. At the second corner, Mother having navigated the first corner quite successfully, we were approached at great speed by a great big truck. And Mother, having quickly forgotten which was the clutch, which was the brake, and which was the accelerator, accelerated in front of the truck. That was the end of my attempt to teach Mother to drive. However, we didn't give up with that. Glenn took his turn trying to teach Mother to drive. Roe had his turn trying to teach Mother to drive. Right. And what happened?
Out in the middle of the 147 tillable acres out on the farm, you know, you're all familiar with that, there's a single post. Mom found it. With my car. But it's exciting to see that she would at least try. She wanted to try, and she did. She gave it her best shot. She can't help it that she missed, you know?
At least with the car, we knew that Mother could hit the broadside of a barn. One thing that we have had great fun recollecting is our mother's cooking.
Yes, one particular incident that came to mind was many years ago when I was about 8 or 9, Mom had made some wonderful jam. The stuff wouldn't set up. So she proceeded to pour all those jars of jam back into the bucket again and recooked it, which she dutifully did, and it cooked, and it cooked. Then she very carefully put the stuff back in the jars, resealed it with the wax, and put it up in the cupboard. I think it was middle of the winter, December or January, we got down a jar of jam, and Dad stuck his knife blade into the jam to take some out and snap the knife blade off. I think you could have used it to vulcanize tires, but I'm not sure. Then sometime later, she made some of her wonderful bread that she used to make. And we're to this day not certain which ingredient she left out. But it was so hard, you couldn't break it. So we put it out expecting the dog to eat it, and come next spring, it was still out there. In the same condition as we put it out there. Okay, what?
Well, then there's Mother's creativity in cooking meat. As a kid, I grew up thinking beef was that thick and brown all the way through. Little did I know until I got down at Houston Air Force Base, Mississippi, you could get steak that thick with pink in the middle. Seriously, Mom, I was always amazed when I was growing up, when Dad was sick so much, that we didn't have anything, but there was always food on the table, and always we're talking about how amazed we are that you always provided for us. It might be stewed tomatoes and bread, but there was always plenty of food for us to eat, and we loved it for that. True, very true. Our mother was an unstinting disciplinarian and believed
that if you spared the rod, or the ping pong paddle, or the razor strap, or the coat hanger, you would spoil the child. But that's not the end of it.
Joe and I were, still are, the closest of the brothers together in age. And so we used to have some pretty good, times of scuffling and things like that. And Mom was really good about trying to break us up. She would throw more blows than the two of us combined and never land a one. And one of her favorite instruments that she used to use was an oak yardstick. Until one day we were being chased up the steps, and she swung and missed, and it shattered, and she couldn't use it anymore. So Mom, we present you with a new one, but remember, nowadays they don't make them like they used to. But the classic example I remember as a child is when we lived in Cedar Falls, and Mom was out one day hanging up clothes, and I was getting into mischief. And that really wasn't my normal state. I want you to know that. My brothers can attest to the truth of that. I was into mischief, and Mom started the discipline, and she was laying on hands, you might say, applying the right hand of fellowship to the left posterior of my body. And we had a very trustworthy watchdog named Rex. And I was bellowing and screeching like she was killing me, and so Rex thought that I was. So he landed his teeth in Mom's posterior. Fortunately for Mom, but not for the dog, she was wearing the trustworthy girdle. And I think it sprained his jaw.
The dog was never the same again.
We did have to put him to sleep after that. But it was actually old age and not mother's armor that did it. One of the things that we thought might be interesting for our mother was if she could know now that she's old enough, she's probably old enough to know some of the secrets that we, her sons, have kept from her for all these years.
Mom, remember when every now and then we'd start to get in the old DeSoto on Sunday morning, and Dad would start mumbling, "Damn car's out of gas again. Where'd the gas go?" I discovered soon after we got this DeSoto that the ignition switch didn't work. You could start it with a nail file, a long fingernail, anything you would fit a dime. So unbeknownst to Mother and Father, little Eddie would shitty down the front porch. We lived on a hill in College Street in Cedar Falls, and just kind of ease my way into the car, turn the switch on, put the clutch in, about 2 blocks away at the bottom of the hill, let the clutch out, and away I'd go. The only problem was, every now and then I forgot to put the gas back in the tank. Hence the Sunday morning cussing. One thing I've been too embarrassed, there was one subject in our family that was virtually taboo, at least my generation of the family. I give my younger brothers some credit for being in another generation. And one of those things which we didn't discuss, we can't discuss now either because there are children present. Our mother nearly died at one point in our young lives from having the mumps. And I was the misfortunate person who brought them home into the house. And I was never able until this day, and I am now younger than my mother. I'm still younger than my mother. That I got the mumps from kissing girls. And I was super young. He was in the 6th grade.
I'm only embarrassed to say it now because it's so long ago. and so far away. But there it is, Mother. My secret is out.
One thing that I remembered just a minute ago was Dad was the fudge maker in the family. Well, one year Dad was either working or something. He couldn't make the fudge, so Mom decided she was going to make the fudge. It never hardened. It would just pour, and she cooked it, and it never did harden. She put it in the freezer, and it still didn't harden. But we had a good fun time eating the fudge with a spoon.
Any other confessions?
Back to the mum's story. You know, I was the only kid in the family that didn't get it. And I was telling Dan a while ago, it must have been because I had more practice than he did kissing girls.
He still had more practice than me. I have a feeling they're withholding from us, but then there's always her next birthday. We can come out again. And money matters, and unfortunately she didn't teach us how to save much, but she did teach us how to spend carefully. How to manage with not a lot. I think it was her depression, her post-depression, or depression experience. So we give her credit for that. But one of the things she also taught us, besides how to spend carefully, was how to be generous. And I'm very grateful to Mom for that. I remember, not to bring back any bad memories, but I remember how sick Dad was the last couple of years. And Mom, she'd work 8 hours at the bakery and come home and work another 8 hours at home. And like Dan said, she was such a wonderful example of work ethic and frugality. And Mom, we're all just grateful for your wonderful example. Oh, yeah, one thing I forgot to mention. Dad and I, in fact, all of us boys, love to watch storms come up. And after all the other brothers left, Dad and I used to stand out, and even when there were tornado warnings out, we'd stand out and the wind would be blowing and be thundering, and Mom would be saying, Edwin, you get in here right now. And she would always get really mad at us because we wouldn't come in until the storm actually hit. And Mom would be back in the corner somewhere or something saying, what are you guys doing out there? Why are you still out there in the storm? We had fun, but...
Had a fleeting thought. I'll get flipped. Oh, yeah, along about the same time that Mother was laid up with, we now know Danny's mumps. I learned to do the dishes. All the dishes. And the laundry. See, my wife thinks I learned to do laundry as an Amway salesman. No, I learned to do laundry when I was about, 14 or so, 15, I guess. And sometimes we had a lot of fun with this laundry business. In fact, one day, soon after Mom got home from the hospital, we had just finished changing Joe's diapers. And Dan and I proceeded to kind of toss him around a little bit. Turned into a full-blown game of catch. And we're playing catch with Joe across the living room. Yeah. I thought she was going to have a heart attack right there. Anyway, John.
Speaking of dishes, the folks at one point in time had this beautiful set of dishes, kind of pink pattern, with like a house or something in the middle of it. I think we managed throughout the times we did dishes to break every one of them. In fact, I think they're all gone.
But she still made us keep doing the dishes. One of the things I have to say is that if we haven't talked a lot about our mother and growing up, it's because our mother was rather closed-mouthed about her life and a very private person, and we learned to respect that as well. So if we're talking mostly about our experience growing up and not Mother's experience, you'll have to ask her for her own secrets. We'd like to do a little, to pay tribute to our mother now with a little song.
The old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be, ain't what she used to be. The old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be many long years ago. Down by the old mill stream, where I first met with your eyes so dressed in gingham, it was there I knew that you loved me too. You were 16, my village queen, down by the old mill stream, down by the old mill stream, where I first met you, with your eyes so blue, not green but blue, dressed in gingham too. It was there I knew that you loved me too. You were 16, my village queen, down by the old mill at night, dear heart, for you I'll find in all my dreams your fair face beams. You're the flower of my heart, sweet red
Years, so we thought we better not rehearse them. We might blow some
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. If you get there before I do, coming for to carry me home. Tell all my friends I'm coming too. my life is almost gone. Hear my cry, hear my call, hold my hand as I fall. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me
We're done.
For those of you who don't know, these are mine too. This is Josh, and Grandma, they're gonna have a sing. They're gonna sing to you.
Oh, Jesus gave water, oh my Jesus gave water, oh Jesus gave water, and it was not from the well, well, Jesus gave water, you know my Jesus gave water, oh Jesus gave water, and it was not from the well, well, there was a woman from Samaria, came to the well to get some water, but there she met a stranger, and she did her story tell. She left my Savior singing, she came back to him ringing. From the time she heard of the Lord, and it was not from the well, well, Jesus gave water, you know my Jesus gave water. Oh, Jesus gave water, and it was not from the well. Well, on that woman he had pity, she ran back to the city, crying, glory, hallelujah, I'm gonna let it praise this Lamb. Every time she doubted, she'd stop to think about him, and the man who gave her water, Lord, and it was not from the well. Oh, he gave water, Jesus gave water, oh, Jesus, he gave water, I'm gonna let it praise this Lamb. Jesus gave that woman water, he gave her that living, lasting water. Oh, and it was not from the well. Oh, he gave water, Jesus gave water. Oh, Jesus, he gave water, I'm gonna let him praise this Lamb. Jesus gave that woman water, he gave her that living, lasting water. Oh, and it was not from the well. You're that quiet, ain't you? Anybody want some cake or something like
It's a live or Memorex. Who cares as long as I ain't in it? Oh, it's a good job singing.
Thank you.
It must have been the age you guys were or something. Every time I went to the clothesline, Stephen got into something. It must have been the age that you guys were.
I think it probably was.
The worst thing he ever did, he dumped a brand new 3-pound can of cocoa in the middle of our bed.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
And to the left.
You did a good job. Very neat. Logan, come on. We're not playing yet. Can't wait to see how much this is
Can I see the box real quick? See how many?
No, we're just gonna wait, okay?
I saw him.
You can go over there.
Thanks for letting us cross.
I'll bring it back.
Should have a list of graduation.
It's like everybody see it real quick.
I've enjoyed it.
No, no picture behind yourself.
You got line 2 with his phone number in there.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, no, I
It
went.
doesn't matter.
Well, I went to visit some friends in College Station. These are on there.
You can send me your.
You pull it like this and you have that. What's your name on it? Says welcome.
Because if I do like the rest of the lessons, I'll have to write
Yeah.
New Haven years ago. Larry left wife, and her daughter and husband was here, but for a while. Thanks a lot. Right, that is. Maybe I'll have another 80th birthday next year. Thank you. Thank you.
Wish you luck, Mother.
Better not, Mom. We only said nice things about you today.
You might not think I did. We're going to add some more names to this grandma. Oh, okay. Yeah, take that one.
That's my eldest.
Well, celebrating sacred.
Jerry. They're cousins.
Okay.
You're my first cousin, so you're your second cousin.